another episode, another edition of Tarot by Hilary Live. I am your hostess with the mostest, Hilary, professional tarot reader from tarotbyhilary.com, demystifying the mystical and putting you in touch with the most beautiful of gifts, your own intuition. Because yes, my friends, do not argue with me. You have intuition. I believe everybody has intuition. So on tonight's episode, we are talking about the pagan Celtic holiday of Samhain, and it is spelled a little bit differently than how you would imagine it to be. And actually, it's kind of funny. Some of the things that I've been reading about or seeing about is like, a lot of newer witches, and heck, I was one of them, called it Samhain when I started. And then it's just like, no, it's pronounced Samhain. I know it doesn't look like how it's supposed to be. If you happen to be someone that learned the vocabulary and was a voracious reader, when you were younger, you mispronounce things all the time because you would see it in writing, but you wouldn't necessarily use the words in everyday vocabulary or vernacular. So that's just one of those words. I mean, I was the person who said faux pas, fox pox for a number of years, and I sounded like an uncultured swine when I did it. But, you learn, and sometimes you make mistakes, right? So anyway, that is the topic of tonight's episode. It is part of the Sabbats series that I've been doing to illustrate some of the high holidays that I celebrate as a practicing witch and pagan, and also as a votary, which is basically a priestess in training to the goddess Brigid. So that is part of my votary work, is bringing you some of these workshops that you've been seeing from the Sabbat series in particular. But we've been doing this a weekly workshop episode thing for over 2 years now. So no subject is really taboo, and I'm always happy to teach different topics that you guys want to learn about. Usually focused more towards tarot and metaphysical topics, but I just so happen to be a witch as well as a tarot reader. Sometimes it's not the same. Not all tarot readers are witches. Not all witches are tarot readers. I just happen to be both. So I am very happy to provide those workshops, especially when they coincide with what you guys are telling me you want to see in these episodes. So we already did have a couple of people asking to learn about some of witchcraft practices, spell casting, integrating tarot into your spell casting, or for divination before spell casting, that sort of thing. And one of the requests was to learn more about Sabbats and how I personally celebrate them on my own, and also with the coven that I am a member of. So that's the focus for tonight. I am looking forward to teaching that. I do have a couple of books to reference from that I'm happy to share that with you, recommended reading for you all. And also tell you a little bit about my own personal practices, because date of broadcast, this is currently Friday, October 29th. We are going into the Halloween weekend, and we will be having our coven celebration tomorrow because Halloween falls on Sunday, and it is typically a nighttime kind of ritual that we do. So we want to be able to accommodate everyone by holding it on a Saturday when more people are available, and not having people worry about a intense and heavy ritual on a Sunday night, and then having to go back into work on Monday morning feeling completely energetically drained and emotionally depleted. So hence the Saturday move instead of holding it on the 31st. But it's all good, folks. Whatever opportunity you have this weekend to celebrate Samhain, I'm going to tell you about some of the practices so that you can celebrate Samhain for yourself. So What I like to do at the top of every episode and at the end of every episode, and have the topic be the meat in the middle of the delicious and juicy sandwich that we call an episode. Top of the episode, I give the astrology from Teresa Reed's excellent Astro Biz Digest. So if you're looking to have some kind of freebie astrology or some freebie tarot, I usually start with some astrology and end with a tarot or an oracle card to bring you into the weekend by giving you a short and tasty weekend forecast. And then we will talk about the topic, which is Samhain, smack dab in the middle. So I hope that sounds good to everybody. And if you happen to be watching this live, please go ahead and post a comment or say hi, say where you're tuning in from. I would love to hear it. I'm always interested in where people are tuning in from. We've had people from LA. We've had people from Australia. We've had a couple of people from East Coast, West Coast, Midwest, different countries, international. And I am broadcasting from the lovely state of New York. So if at any point you feel compelled to say hello in the chat, go ahead and say hello in the chat. And also, if I am in the middle of covering the topic, tonight is Samhain. If you have any questions, you can always drop it in the chat. That's part of the reason why I love doing these episodes live. All of the episodes have replays, either on my YouTube channel or on Facebook, wherever it is that you're watching and tuning in from. We have archives available over the last 2 years. So even if you're not able to attend live, you can still get a lot of use and information out of these different episodes. But I always encourage people to tune in live, because then you can ask your questions in the chat and I can answer right on the video. And it's usually more than likely that upcoming or future viewer of these episodes are probably going to have the exact same question that you have when you're watching live. And so you're helping yourself out by asking the question live, and you're also helping out a future viewer by asking the question live. So all right, I feel like I just talked a lot for a very long time, and I am looking at my water very lovingly right now. So I'm going to put up the timer, give it a minute before we move into the astrology, and I'm going to take a short hydration break before we move into the astrology. So let me pop that up using my countdown widget. Because it was story time last week. So last week's episode, we did what is now becoming a yearly tradition, which is reading of The Blue-Nosed Witch by Margaret Embry. I did it last year and I did it last week, and people seem to enjoy it. So if you did not see last week's episode, don't go now, but check it out after you watch this episode. And while that timer is up, I can just show you the schedule of episodes that we've done this month. So on the 1st, we did Mercury retrograde and scheduling episodes. On Friday the 8th, we had no show because I was not feeling it. On Friday the 15th, we talked about freezer spells, a little bit of a witchy content for you. Last Friday, on the 22nd, we did Spooky Storytime, The Blue-Nosed Witch. And tonight we are covering Samhain, which is part of the Sabbats series of episodes. So I'm just going to leave that up as I'm drinking my water and hopefully not spilling it everywhere. Because I filled that up quite full. So if you are interested in watching any of those past episodes, other than the one that we're talking about tonight, of course, you can go ahead into the archives and check those episodes out. All right. Are we ready for astrology? Ready or not, it's going to happen. So I start out all the episodes with astrology from Teresa Reed's wonderful Astro Biz Digest, which is a subscription service that you can get over the year. You've got astrology right in your inbox, and it's also translated into layman's terms so that you're not having to figure out what a moon in Pisces in the third house means. And yeah, all of the jargon, you'll get the astrological jargon, but you will also have some understanding of what that astrological jargon means to you because Teresa explains it all. So you get it for each month, you get an overview, and then you get a weekly overview, and you've got power days and you've got weekdays, and it's just very, very helpful. Now, the thing is, though it is geared towards entrepreneurs and business owners, I have found it to be incredibly helpful in my own personal life using this. So if I do happen to say a jargon that's kind of businessy or entrepreneurial, feel free to tweak that in your own mind and just take the astrology that is useful to you and leave the rest. And I am just going to pull up the AstroBiz Digest for October 25th to the 31st, because we are in spooky season, y'all. And I've gone ahead and shared that link to the AstroBiz Digest, which is $99 for the year. If you are so inclined to get your own subscription, please do so. So I don't share everything from the AstroBiz Digest because then that would not be kind to Teresa, and that would not truly be promoting her work. It's giving away her work, which I'm not trying to do here. So I only focus on the Friday, the Saturday, and the Sunday, and you can purchase her AstroBiz Digest for the rest of the weekdays if you're liking what you're hearing. So big energy happening this week. We have Mars strutting into Scorpio. Because Mars rules Scorpio, it's at home. Willpower is elevated, making it possible to climb every business mountain, set your goals high, and be unapologetically ambitious. When what you believe you can achieve. Go you. Mars will be in Scorpio until December 13th. All right. Now, keeping in mind, you're going to hear about power days and weekdays. Power days are your best days of the month. And weekdays, WEAK, are when the universe is not your BFF and you're at a disadvantage. So let's get to it. So Friday, today, a wonky Moon-Uranus square at 6:25 a.m. Eastern Standard Time casts an unpredictable, moody vibe into the morning. Sleep in. It will blow over in about 2 hours. Once that happens, it's easy to get your message out to the public today. So grab the mic, make some noise, and do not skimp on your marketing. Send out your newsletters or host a live stream at 6:32 p.m. Eastern Standard Time when the moon is in sextile with the messenger planet of Mercury. Now, I host these episodes every Friday night at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, come rain, hell, high water. So I found it very, very funny when she wrote that in host a live stream at 6:32 p.m. Eastern Standard Time because the moon is in sextile with Mercury. So you can get plenty of eyes on your business if you do. So hello, everybody. Power day for Leo today and weekday for Aquarius. All right. Saturday and Sunday. The moon will be void in the early hours of Saturday, followed by a Sun-Saturn square at 5:53 a.m. If you take the morning off, you'll be glad you did. It's best for rest or finishing up work already in motion. Mars shifts gears into Scorpio at 10:21 a.m., which I already spoke about at the top of the episode when we started the astrology. And it's a good thing. Mars in Scorpio is a good thing. The afternoon hits a productive groove when La Luna marches into Virgo at 2:09 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let your inner perfectionist rule the business roost all weekend as you declutter, edit, and create divine order in your business and your personal life too. The best spot for marketing on Saturday happens at 2:22 p.m. when the moon forms a happy angle with Mars. Be assertive with your message, and you'll count those dollar bills all weekend long. Sunday is best for a chill Halloween. Although the moon Uranus trine at 1:33 p.m. could be excellent for brainstorming sessions with your team, why not take the day off for long walks in the park, passing out candy, or hosting a spooky shindig for the neighborhood kids? Saturday is a power day for Leo and a weekday for Aquarius, and Sunday is a power day for Virgo and a weekday for Pisces. So, and I see that Katie is here. Hello, Katie. Welcome to the broadcast, a loyal viewer. And please adjust accordingly for your Aussie self. All right. Let me pull that down here so y'all can see my lovely face. All right. So I typically do open up for questions about the astrology before we move into the topic of the night. So if you were having a kind of weird day on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday, and you're not quite sure why that was, and you want to know if there was an astrological something that might have contributed to it, just let me know in the chat. I'm happy to take a look for you without giving too much away of Teresa's wonderful work. And then we will move into the Samhain Workshop. So I know Katie is here right now. So Katie, let me know if there was anything weird going on the other days of the week for you, so I can check the astrology for you. If not, we will move into the Samhain Workshop, which I know Katie was one of the people that asked for the Sabbat series, and it just happily coincided with some of the votary work that I needed to do for my priestess training. So. I'm going to say something about Samhain before we get started, and while I leave the floor open for astrological queries before we begin. So, if you are new to witchcraft, or you're curious about witchcraft, or you're curious about rituals, and you want to attend something, I will be frank. Samhain is usually not the best ritual for someone that wants an introduction. It is typically a very heavily energetic ritual, especially in the pagan and metaphysical and witch circles that I run in. We do have a practice of trance prophecy in which it's almost a form of ritual possession that you are trained to do. And so anyone that takes the chair, which is our verbiage for basically being the vessel for the divine, anyone who takes the chair in a ritual setting is trained to do so. But it is also a holiday of the dead and our ancestors, and recognizing that the veil between the spirit world and the living world is very, very thin, typically at this time. For those of you celebrating Samhain, at the other side of the world, you are celebrating the other cross quarter celebration, which I believe is Beltane. Let me double check my wheel of the year to make sure I'm saying that right. I believe it is Beltane. Yes, Beltane is the cross quarter to Samhain. So very different energies going on that is usually tied to the seasons. But yeah, Samhain is typically not the time for intro, or someone seeking like a light experience shouldn't be going to a Samhain celebration. And the reason I start the episode by saying that is because we have had different people approach us, and this is, of course, prior to the pandemic when we had, you know, more ease and more interaction with the public and with meeting in person. Um, the We've had people approach us to ask us about attending a Samhain ritual or celebration, and the our high priestess at the time said, yeah, like, absolutely, you're more than welcome to attend. I just want to tell you, this is what it's going to be energetically, and it can be very heavy. And so, I just want to warn you ahead of time, to prepare yourself. And so that person, was given that, caveat, showed up, and it was too much for them. And so it's like, please heed us, listen to us when we're saying that, Samhain may not be the best ritual in which you're a looky-loo, or you're a casual observer, or you're looking for something light and fluffy and surface. It can be very energetically heavy. So that being said, a lot of the time, there's certain people that are practicing witches that are typically solitary, and there are rituals that they will gather with other witches in a more social setting. Typically, Samhain may not be the ritual that they choose to do that with, and they would prefer a more solitary ritual because of the energetic heaviness, and also having a personal connection with their ancestors or loved ones that have crossed over. So just want to give you fair warning, and just know yourself and know what you feel you can and cannot do. So Katie is saying, my whole week was crazy, so I think I won't worry about it anymore. I'm super keen for the workshop. All right, well then let's get started. Yeah, the astrology was a little bit strange during the week. There were some high points. There were some like I'm gonna scan though, because I felt that too. Yes, that's why. So there was like the moon in Gemini at the beginning of the week. There was then the moon moved into Cancer. So there were sensitivity issues going on Monday. A little bit of aggression and intuition on Tuesday. Wednesday, imagination was elevated because the moon was trining Neptune. Thursday was flashy Leo. Folks want to be entertained, and that actually happened to be the day of our office Halloween party. So I thought it was very, very amusing that it lined up so nicely with the astrology. And actually, I think I was reading the astrology, and then I was told that I was leading up the Halloween parade with my really, really lazy costume. So it kind of made me laugh that it's just like, flashy Leo, get out there, public eye. And then it's just like, hey, you're going to lead the Halloween parade. I'm just like, all right, sure. Okay. Why not? Yeah. So the week was kind of hit or miss this week, Katie. So, all right. So let us get into the workshop. And I'm going to change things up here because I have my Sabbats series cue cards, but I didn't update them. So announced. Salon. That's kind of like mean, but so The only reason I'm putting the pronunciation up there is because I have fallen victim to saying it wrong for many years when I was a baby witch. And yeah. So the celebration of Samhain, I'm going to reference a couple of books. It's the same couple of books that I've been referencing over the Sabbath series that we've been doing since, gosh, I think it's been since March. And I think you've gotten all of the Sabbats so far, except for Autumn Equinox, because I was just so energetically drained that day that I'm just like, you know what? I'm not going to do it because it's just going to be a crappy episode and I'm just going to be forcing my way through it. And it's just not going to be good for either of us. So I didn't do it. However, I can give plenty of resources once we finished up the Sabbat series for all of the different Sabbats and what they mean and how to celebrate them and what your altar looks like and how I personally celebrate with the different rituals that I have done with my previous coven and my current coven. Katie is saying Mercury had no Gatorade for you. Well, I mean, fortunately, oh yes, that's right. That's right. That's right. It was over the Mercury retrograde too. Yes, that's correct. Thank you. Thank you for that painful reminder, Katie. Anyway, so Samhain Samhain is can be one of my favorite Sabbats, but like I was saying before, it can also be very energetically heavy, energetically draining, um, very emotional because this is the holiday that falls close to Dia de los Muertos, which is a different thing, guys. It's a different thing. It's not, it shouldn't be conflated with each other. There's also All Souls, different thing, but it's all happening around the same time and it all has very similar themes. So, but Samhain can be very difficult for people because it's almost there's a lot of people that I know that are experiencing loss right now. There's a lot of people that I know that are experiencing unexpected loss right now. And then also for people that have lost loved ones, not at this time of the year, um, they still are. It's almost as if they're replaying, and it's like kind of an anniversary in a way, because they have their regular, I guess, milestones like that person's birthday or their anniversary if the loved one happened to be their partner, and then their death anniversary, which was the day that they passed. So all of that stuff can be coming up during this time of year, because of the energetic time of the year and the seasonal time of the year. This is Samhain is not just known as the thinning of the veil; it's also kind of the witch's new year or last harvest. So it's kind of that point where it's just like if you're not prepared for the winter by now, like you're not making it. This is a make it or break it time of year. Seasonally and for the people that were living off of the land, if you didn't have all your crops in by this time, like the frost is hitting it, you're losing those crops. So this is very much the time of battening down the hatches and making sure that you're prepared for the darkening days, the frost, the cold, the winter that's coming up. It's like, yes, it's autumn, but it's also we're starting to prepare or making sure that we are fully prepared to get through the winter season and back into the spring again. Does that make sense to everybody? So I often like to call autumn equinox the witch's Thanksgiving, and it's almost like that. I don't know if it's technically the first or the second harvest, but it's definitely a harvest festival. But this Samhain is like the final harvest. Like, you better make sure your shit is together, because it's make it or break it time. All right, great. So Katie says, sure does. That makes sense. Sure does make sense. Okay, awesome. So let us go to the books. So that all being said, that's all of my stuff from memory, which I think I'm doing pretty good, if I do say so myself. But let us go to the tape. So we've got the two books that I've been citing pretty heavily in the Sabbat series has been Craft: How to Be a Modern Witch by Gabriella Herstick. This is the UK version. I believe it is called, the title is called Inner Witch in the United States. For other countries, sorry, Katie, I don't know what it is called. I have a feeling it's also called Inner Witch in other countries. This one happens to be called Craft for the UK version. And I only got it because of the pretty cover and the hardcover, and it looks like quartz crystals and witchy and shiny and, gold leaf and everything. I know you're not supposed to judge a book by its cover, but this is a really, really pretty cover. Not to mention the fact that there's really good information here too. So I'm pretty happy with my purchase. But you can get that goody information also out of Inner Witch. It's the same book. It's the same author. And I just turned to fashion magic. And glamour is more than glamour. Okay. So flipping to Samhain, the Witch's New Year. That's right. All right. Bookmarked this. So that's the first book. And then the second book that I've been citing pretty heavily is The Real Witch's Craft: Magical Techniques and Guidance for a Full Year of Practicing the Craft by Kate West. This has been a really excellent book for the Sabbat series, because this has great information and it covers all of the Sabbats. That's true, but it also has different chapters for different things. This book is like the focus of this book in its entirety is about guidance for the full year of practicing the craft. And it has the freaking Sabbats right on the cover, also in gold leaf. Are you sensing a pattern here? So that's the reason why I reference this one pretty heavily, because it's very seasonal in nature with the full year, and it's pretty much helping to address everything that I'm trying to address in this Sabbat series as well. I'm not going to be able to cover everything all at once because it's just not possible for me to do so, but I'm hitting the highlights of these different pagan holidays for you to be able to take that information into your own practice if you so wish. So, like I was saying before, Northern Hemisphere, we are celebrating Samhain, and I am a Northern Hemisphere witch, so I'm going to cover Samhain. However, if you are a Southern Hemisphere witch and you're wanting to celebrate Beltane, I do have an episode for that. So right here on the, I'm not sure if you can see it because it's gold and pretty, but you can't really see that it's very visible. But Samhain is over here where I'm tapping, and Beltane is up here. So it's a cross. So if you ever need a handy dandy guide, you can always look it up on the internet, and do a quick internet search for the Wheel of the Year. That's what we're talking about here. And then you can just look at the wheel and go right across the wheel, like across like for example, Litha is across from Yule. So if you're celebrating Litha in the Northern Hemisphere, you would be celebrating Yule in the Southern Hemisphere. Oh, good. It's visible. Awesome. Great. So we do have an episode for Beltane if you're, in the Southern Hemisphere and you want to be celebrating seasonally with what's going on weather-wise around you. We do have an episode for that. Actually, let me look that up so that I can show you. Give me 1 second here. Actually, there's quite a few things on. No, I don't want Yahoo search. I want YouTube. Thank you. All right, let's just put in my name and see what happens. Anyway, well, I found one episode, and I'm not gonna take up any more time. You can find it in the episode archives. Just look for Beltane, Beltane, I believe. You'll be able to find it in the episode archives. So, without further ado, let us cite. I'm going to go with the Real Witch's Craft first because I typically like citing Gabriella Herstick's craft better. So I like to finish with that rather than start with that. So let me see if I've bookmarked it. Yep, I have. I'm very smart. And actually, so Kate West's book, citing from page 255, she starts out the Sabbats, the list of the Sabbats with Samhain, the 31st of October. Once again, I'm just going to cite from her what the Sabbats are, what they're grouped into before we get into Samhain itself. So the Sabbats are seasonal festivals, and in your earlier study of the craft, you may have been well advised that they were times of celebration rather than for working of magic. However, there are strong energies connected to the Sabbats, which also can be incorporated in our spells and magic. Having said that, many witches prefer to keep their Sabbats at times of renewal and reflection, only working magic at them when it's really essential. And I would probably, I agree with that somewhat, especially if it is an energetically depleting and emotionally hard, because it can be emotionally difficult. Samhain, I would probably shy away from actually doing spell work at this time. I think it's just it's too raw of a Sabbat, and I think I've said that before with different Sabbats. Energet like Beltane, I feel like, yeah, you could probably work a spell or two if you want to, but for Samhain, I would probably not. That's just my personal opinion. You can feel free to do whatever you want and whatever makes sense to you. The Sabbats are divided into two groups: the major Sabbats of Samhain, which we're talking about tonight, Imbolc, Beltane, and Lunasa, and the minor ones, which are the spring and autumn equinoxes and the winter and summer solstices. The former are linked to the agricultural cycle and would originally have been timed by events in nature, hence the reason why I'm citing northern and southern hemisphere. What's going on in nature, that's where your major Sabbats are coming from. Later, they were assigned dates, but as these were in the old calendar, they would have fallen some 11 days earlier than the ones we now use. The latter are associated with the movements of the Earth around the sun, and whilst they have been given set dates, if you intend to use them for magical purposes, it is better to seek their actual timing. So that will fluctuate depending on the year. And I would really recommend getting your hands on a farmer's almanac or an astrological ephemeris or a planner even. There are many great planners and date books on the market that now include astrological timing and new moons and full moons, which I really, really love. Me personally, I just get that information from Teresa Reed and I fill it into my passion planner. That's just me. Use whatever works for you. And a lot of this information can be found online as well. All right, so for Samhain, 31st of October, this festival marks the beginning of the fogs, frosts, and storms which herald the onset of winter. The harvest is gathered and stocks put aside for the resting part of the year. At this time, the goddess takes on her robes as the crone, and the god takes his place as leader of the wild hunt. Traditionally, this is a time for the resting and renewal of the land and for divination. As the festival of the dead, it is also the time for remembering those who have gone before. Magically, it is time for reassessment and for looking to the future. Use the energies and spells where you seek guidance for new directions or for reviewing life's plans. This is also a good time for spells of defense and protection. So I would personally probably do a little bit of divination, but I probably wouldn't work a spell unless I felt really compelled to. All right, any questions about what I just said from the Real Witch's Craft? And I would recommend picking up a copy of this. I found it to be very helpful. No judgment if you don't. And I do know that we have one viewer that takes a more non non-deity approach to their witchcraft, more seasonal rather than deity focused, which is totally fine. But that's part of the reason why I like finishing and citing from craft rather than the Real Witch's Craft, because this feels very seasonal and deity focused, while this has specific secular and also seasonal recommendations that are not deity focused. So can't remember who it was, but I'm just going to say, like, I remember we have a viewer that has asked specifically for stuff that is not deity focused, or at least giving that option. So I am going to give that option whenever I can. My stuff usually is deity focused. And I'll talk a little bit about that when we get into my personal practices and how I've celebrated Samhain with my coven. And I do want to emphasize this is the ritual that we're doing tomorrow is a ritual that we have done once or twice before. And there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, it can give power and energy in the repetition of doing that every year. So there are certain songs that we sing at each of the different Sabbats. There is a certain focus or god or goddess that we give homage to, that we call forth, that we ask to be at our rights. There's different food that we eat. There's different words that we say, and we might say the same word or the same invocation, or we have the same quarter casting or the same circle casting as we do every year for every Samhain, because it lends power with the repetition. It becomes a legacy. It becomes a focal point. It joins our group mind and also the mind of anyone that is attending that ritual. They feel the power behind that repetition. So it's not boring. It actually has a purpose, an energetic purpose. It's almost like stacking this energy of past rituals and bringing that forth. Does that make sense to everybody? Let me know. And I'm going to take a hydration break before I move into citing from Craft, How to Be a Modern Witch by Gabriella Herstick for Samhain, because I'm talking a lot, as I normally do on these episodes. Awesome. Katie says, yes, all good. Don't be shy, folks. Please put in your comments. I see all of them. I may not display all of them because we've had real weirdos come in here, and not in the good way. We've had spammers, we've had scammers, we've had freebie seekers, we've had all types of people coming in. Even when I've been super crystal clear about, like, no, this is the focus of the episode. This is not the freebie time. This is not a free one card pulls. So this is to educate and also to help you in your tarot practices. It depends on the topic. So, all right. Okay. So from Craft, How to Be a Modern Witch, So Samhain, I mean, there is going to be, speaking of repetition, there is probably going to be common points between the two sources, and then also the personal things that I do with previous and present covens and rituals. So, all right. So Samhain, the witch's new year, like I said before. It's the new year and it's Halloween. If there's one day you can really let your inner freaky witch out, it's on Samhain. Also known as the Witch's New Year, Samhain celebrates all we've accomplished and allows us to do so alongside those who have made it happen, our ancestors. Oh, and Dina's here. Hi, Dina. I'm so glad to see you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. The veil that separates us from them is like a curtain, and we're able to peek behind it much more easily now than at any other time of the year. And actually, funny story about that. Like I have heard things from my medium friends, from my spiritualist friends, um, about how spirit speaks, and that they get a little bit frustrated around Samhain because that's when we're talking to them, and that's when it seems like they're talking to us all the time, all year round, but it seems like we don't hear them until around this time of year. um, and so they get a little, I mean, they love us, but they get a little bit frustrated by that because it's just like, dude, we've been talking to you all this time. Like 365 days a year, we're talking to you. So the fact that the veil is thin at this time of year can be a joy for them and a joy for us, although it can be very hard and difficult and emotionally depleting and sad as well. Um, but it can be joyful because they finally feel like, oh, I can speak, I can be heard, they can hear me, and there's a conversation going on. And again, I'm going to touch upon this for personal practices as well. um, so just remember that just because the veil is thin, and a lot of the emphasis of Samhain is speaking to our beloved dead and our ancestors and our loved ones, um, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're not talking to us all year round. And I'm getting a little bit choked up because one of the people that told me this actually unexpectedly passed away. Um, I think a few weeks ago, who taught me a lot of stuff. He was a really great teacher and medium and spiritualist. And one of the practices that I do in my tarot work about looking for a sign before I actually sit down with a client or giving a message or a gift, that came from him. So that message of like they're talking to us all the time, that also came from him and from some of my other medium friends. So it's kind of difficult knowing that, and feeling that message, and also kind of like feeling him around me a little bit, and being like, yeah, it's sad, but also like this is just it's just a different it's just different. It's like it's not finality, it's just passing through a veil, through a curtain. It's still existence, it's just a different form. So I wish I had that that faith of the spiritualist tradition where it's just like not so different, but it's hard, it's difficult. Yes, Katie's right. It's like this is the only time we listen properly. Very, very true. Very true. But they're talking to us all the time. All the time. I'm glad I'm not wearing mascara right now. Um, all right. So honoring our ancestors, our roots, our families, and ourselves is an overarching theme of Samhain when we're encouraged to engage with the other side. Halloween feels different to the other Sabbats, and that's because it is. May we use the Witch's New Year to recharge and reset ourselves. Um, yeah. And also, I found a lot of the time, and don't quote me on this. Don't come after me for this. A lot of people that are witchily inclined tend to pass at this time of year too. It's almost like it's not that they plan it. It's just that it just kind of it happens. And a few people I know have said, well, clearly they were just waiting for Samhain, you know. And there have been other Sabbats in which that have happened, where it's like, they were just waiting for Yule. They were waiting for Beltane, you know. But by far, I have heard they were waiting for Samhain. So I feel like there's a certain symmetry in that. Oh, Jennifer's here. Hi, Jennifer. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. See, this is the reason why I say please comment because I don't know. I just see an eyeball with the number of people watching. I don't see who's watching while I'm in the while I'm in my third party Be Live app. So thank you so much, Jennifer. I appreciate that. So how to decorate your altar. Roses and brightly colored flowers, skulls, seasonal decorations like squash, gourds, acorns, and seeds, candles in autumn colors such as black, deep red, and orange. I like to put purple candles as well. I usually go for the black, the red, and the purple. Heirlooms and talismans that connect you to your ancestors. Any offerings to icons and loved ones on the other side. Death and the moon tarot cards are also appropriate. I also like to add pictures of people that have passed as well. Yes, exactly. Kind of like the ancestor conversations. Yep, exactly. I'm glad that Common Assistant push that forward. I don't know if I told you guys this, but I upgraded my Be Live to Pro. So it's got a lot more features. I'm very happy about that. And one of that is Comment Assistant, which posts comments automatically. So I don't have to do it myself. It's very nice. So yeah, I like to put pictures of past loved ones on my altar as well. Or like Gabriella was saying, heirlooms and talismans as well. So if you have a piece of jewelry that that is an heirloom from you know, your grandmother or your great grandmother, you know, put that on your altar, because it's almost like a decoration, but it's also an acknowledgement, and also you're imbuing that energy as well. It can be very supportive and very loving. But I usually do like to put pictures of past loved ones, as well as pictures or figures of deities that are specifically Samhain appropriate. I'm going to talk a little bit about this for personal stuff, but we are bringing through Hecate in our ritual tomorrow, and is also the Hounds of Hecate as well. So I'll talk a little bit about that tomorrow without giving away a lot of information. But it's a ritual that we've done before, and it's been very powerful. So non-ritual ways to celebrate. So this is going out to my secular witch that has requested non-ritual ways. Go trick-or-treating, have a midnight picnic in a cemetery, write a letter to your deceased loved ones and then burn it, leave an offering of mulled wine for your ancestors, or whatever it is that they liked to drink, talk to the moon and enjoy the night. Oh yeah, I usually decorate with pomegranates as well, and I think we're putting pomegranates on the altar tomorrow too. So it's interesting because in The Real Witch's Craft by Kate West, she starts with Samhain as the wheel of the year, and with Gabriella Herstick's Craft, she ends with the wheel of the year in the order of the Sabbats. So I think that's very interesting. So Jennifer says, I love having to have a picnic in a cemetery. Yes, just make sure you're not breaking into the cemetery, guys. You know, make sure that you're compliant with all local and federal laws while you're doing stuff for the witchy spoopy season, I like to say. Okay, so any questions about what I just brought up from the Real Witches Craft and Craft How to Be a Modern Witch before I get into my personal celebrations? And also, I would love to hear if you all have personal celebrations, ways of celebrating Samhain, ways of honoring your ancestors. Go ahead and drop it into the chat. I would love to hear it. And I'm going to take my hydration break again. Oh, wait, I have one more thing before I go into the personal. Actually, Rebecca Campbell posted a beautiful blog about how to create a Samhain altar. And I think she just posted it a couple of days ago. I'm not sure, but it came through in my emails and I wanted to share it with you. So I'm going to give the link into the chat. Please don't go there. you can go ahead and read it after you watch this episode. And by the way, I'm posting to different streams. So if your stream doesn't happen to propagate the link, I do apologize for that. I'll also display it on screen for those of you that might not be getting it. So that's up on screen right now, RebeccaCampbell.me/how to create a Samhain altar with hyphens in between each one. So I'm going to cite a couple of things from that article, but let's get to Katie's comment first. I find I'd like to wear things of theirs or things that they gave me as a way of remembering them. Also, sometimes clothes that they liked me in. Mm-hmm. Yep. Another one I do is drink an alcohol that my dad loves, like I'm having a drink with him. Yes, that's great. And actually, I'm going to touch upon that a little bit in the personal ways that my coven, past covens have celebrated. And that's the concept of a dumb supper, which is dumb meaning mute, as in you would consume the foods and sit in silence, and also set a place for that person or for as a placeholder for all of your beloved loved ones that you want to share the meal with. And we've done like a kind of a communal plate in which we've had different dishes that they loved, and also we eat and we drink and we sit and we think, and it's almost in a meditative state. And then at the end of that, when the period of muteness concludes and everyone is finishing their food, we kind of go around and we talk to each other and we say, you know, like, I think I have a message from this person or this person. And it's almost kind of a way of mediumship, but I wouldn't say it's casual mediumship, but it is this kind of like sweetness and lovingness where it's just like, I think your grandmother is standing next to you and she has this hat and she's saying this and she's speaking in this accent. Now, not everyone goes and relays a message, and not everyone is willing to hear those messages. So we always give the caveat first, you know, like if people don't want to participate, if you don't want to give a message or you don't want to receive a message, like please go ahead and say so up front. And then, you know, consent is sexy, everybody. You know, no matter what you're doing, make sure that you have the parameters laid out very clearly and cleanly. But it's often been a wonderful time of also describing describing like the alcohol that your dad loved, and why he loved it so much, and or the food that you would make for that person. And sometimes it's been very funny in preparing for a Samhain celebration and fellowship, and the feast that comes along with it, usually, because it is the final harvest after all. So it's kind of a little bit of a celebration of like, yeah, we did it. Like we're stocked up, we're ready to go. Let's get fat to get through the winter months. Um, Often in making preparations or cooking or baking, you can incorporate your ancestors in that, and like have it be a meditative kind of action or movements, and be guided by them and have that openness to them, because sometimes they'll be like, that's too much paprika. What are you doing? Like, oh no, more garlic. No more garlic. But the recipe says, I'll tell you when. I've heard of many stories like that, where people have been cooking and their ancestors are coming along like, that's not the way you do it. No, I didn't say that. Why are you making that pasta? And so sometimes it's very comical. It's very comical having to explain. It's just like, well, we're not making that because it's too expensive, or it's just like, oh, I didn't include saffron because I can't really afford that right now. I know that's what the real recipe says, but and it just creates this other dimension about interacting with your ancestors, with the beloved dead, with the enlightened dead, um, and sometimes not so enlightened, because sometimes the experience is they're still learning lessons on the other side. Does that make sense to everybody? But yeah, the thank you for mentioning about that, because that kind of covers what I was going to say about the dumb supper and making foods that they enjoy, and bringing those foods to other people and talking about them. Oh, so thank you, Katie, for mentioning that. Dina says, I just finished watching Coco. I have not seen it yet, but that would be a great movie to be watching at this time of year. I've heard really good things about it. I don't know if I'm necessarily going to be able to watch that tonight prior to the ritual that we have planned tomorrow, but maybe Sunday. Maybe I feel like Sunday is going to be a very like chill out kind of day, just knowing the ritual that we have planned tomorrow. So let me go to this, how to create a Samhain altar. We also have some ideas already from Craft. So creating a Samhain altar from Rebecca Campbell. As we all live in different climates, some ideas shared here will resonate more than others, depending on your location. Adapt these suggestions to your own environment and use them as a starting point for connecting more deeply to the energy of the natural world around you. So we already talked a little bit about what Samhain is. 31st of October in the Northern Hemisphere, and on the 1st of May in the Southern Hemisphere, about halfway between the autumn equinox and the winter solstice. The word Samhain means summer's end, and it is seen as the Celtic New Year. It's also the Witch's New Year, y'all. Samhain acknowledges the coming of the darkness and the going of the light, because the days are getting shorter and the nights longer. Okay. So Samhain, what does Samhain symbolize? It's a time for introspection and going within to reflect on everything that has happened in the past year. It's also traditionally a time when we honor and connect with our ancestors. At Samhain, we see death and decay in the nature around us. The leaves on the trees are dying and falling to the ground. The vibrant floral displays of summer have either already disappeared or are now fading. It's a time of silence and stillness, a pause, where an ending is taking place, making way for a new beginning. We can now take the time to think back on the last 12 months and consider what we have learned over this time, what may have run its course in our lives, and what we wish to take forward with us into the coming year. This is also an ideal time of year to bring light to anything that is lurking in the shadows, anything that you may not have fully admitted or expressed, even to yourself. Be gentle with this. If issues reveal themselves, you don't need to make any dramatic changes right away. Awareness to these things and voicing them out loud to yourself is enough to start with. And actually, that's interesting that she brings that up, because I actually joined. Oh, about Coco. I love that movie. I'll make time to watch it, guys. I really, really will. Um, it's not that I don't want to. I've been hearing really great things about it. It's just that I don't know if I have the space to go there. Like, I feel like certain movies, it's just like, what the hell? This is like, I didn't need this on a Tuesday. Why are you coming after me? Um, so what she was saying about, like, this is not time to make dramatic changes if you're not feeling ready for it, and about just having the awareness, and bringing that awareness is enough to start. I just joined Gabby Bernstein's Spirit Junkie Masterclass, and I'm also in her Miracle membership. So if I've been quoting from her a lot lately, or quoting from A Course in Miracles a lot lately in my card of the day, which I didn't do today yet, I will do that after the broadcast. It's because I've been watching a lot of Gabby Bernstein lately. But that is one of the things that she said in module 1 of Spirit Junkie Masterclass, which is, small right actions. Like, it doesn't have to be dramatic. It doesn't have to be all at once. Just take one small right action toward your goal, or towards your joy, or towards your peace or compassion, and then take another right step, and another and another. It doesn't have to be big and dramatic and all at once. It can be just small right actions that build up day by day, week by week, month by month, year by year. So just wanted to call that out, because I feel like it's dovetailing nicely with what Rebecca Campbell is saying in this blog post, in this article. So the connection with Halloween, there's, the Christian All Hallows Eve. All Hallows Eve puts more emphasis on the idea of wayward spirits causing chaos and mischief at this time, which is where the tradition of dressing up at Halloween comes from. There is also, I think, folklore about wearing masks on Halloween to distract from mischievous spirits, so that they pass you over, because it's like kind of like becoming the mischievous spirit. So there's like, oh, okay, you're one of us. Like, I don't have to bother you. So I think that's part of the reason why we wear costumes on Halloween as well. Yes, that is quite possible. Dina says maybe this Samhain is stronger, as it is the dark moon time as well. Certainly could be the case. Absolutely. Sometimes different. I've said before in previous episodes, the moon affects me differently every single time. Sometimes a new moon, I'm exhausted. Sometimes a full moon, I'm ready and raring to go. Sometimes a full moon, I'm exhausted. Sometimes a new moon, I'm ready and raring to go. And I never know how it's going to be until it happens. As for right now, I could probably sleep a million hours and not have enough rest at this point. So definitely taking the moon cycles into account, as well as the Sabbat and seasonal cycles. Let's see. So this article also talks a little bit about the ancestors from our genetic lineages, so from our mother and our father lines. But there's also the ancestors of the land you inhabit, so spirits of the space and the land who have imbued these spaces with their energy through their presence. How did they live? What was their relationship to the land? And what was their sacred customs? So there is something that we do during ritual, is that we give thanks to the spirits and the genus loci and, of the land and space, because, and also the indigenous people that were here before us on this land, because, and also, of course, the ancestors and the deities as well. But we always give space in a ritual to the spirits of the land, because we wouldn't be here without the land that we walk upon. So your ancestral altar can have people who have passed over from your maternal line, your paternal line, friends that have passed over who you felt connected with, and your teachers as well. So different Samhain traditions. Safely lighting a bonfire or fire pit, gathering around it with friends and family, sharing stories or information about ancestors or loved ones, sending them blessings and love. Bonfires were traditional at Samhain, when every fire in the household would be extinguished and then relit by taking a flame from the sacred Samhain bonfire, which is something that we were really looking forward to doing tomorrow. But I think we've had to move our ritual indoors because of weather concerns. I believe it's supposed to be raining all day tomorrow. So we will be flexible and changing our plans accordingly. But, um, you know, if you can have a bonfire safely, by all means, and you're feeling called to do it, by all means, do so. Um, like, um, like Katie was saying before, and what I was saying before, you might like to have a Samhain feast and leave out a meal for the ancestors. Samhain tradition is known as dumb supper. I mentioned that before. It's also traditional to leave out a lantern or light candles in recognition of the spirit world at this time of the year when they are closer to us than ever. So here she's got a Samhain altar, which is actually really beautiful. So you can put candles, flowers, water. And if you're feeling like I don't have anything, like, and you want to rush out and buy a bunch of stuff, like, you don't have to rush out and buy a bunch of stuff. Even filling different vessels with water, or having dried flowers, or lighting like a plain white candle or two, it's enough. Or lighting some incense. Um, it's enough, because it's the energy behind it that really is the most important thing. It's always about intention, whether you're doing a ritual or you're casting a spell. It's always about the intention that you put behind it. Why are you doing it? What is the energy here? And even if you can't decorate a fancy Samhain altar or an ancestor's altar, set up a couple of pictures, a few tea lights, some dried flowers, some jewelry if you happen to have any heirloom pieces. I mean, in my family, we have very few heirloom pieces, but what we do have, I cherish, because there is so few and because they are meaningful. So it doesn't have to be fancy. Remember the intention behind it. Photos and personal objects. Oh, that's an interesting ancestral guidance box. The other thing I have on my ancestral altar, this is again from Rebecca Campbell, is a guidance box. I write any questions I have for my ancestors that I would like answers to on a pieces of paper and place them inside the box. And you can feed your ancestor altar through devotion, food and drink. Um, Feed your altar, you may keep it clean, add items to it, freshen the water or replace a candle. And you can feed it through devotion, could be meditation, praying, or speaking to your ancestors. Really, really nice, really nice. I'm glad that I saw that particular article before I came in to do this workshop. So, any questions about that? And again, you can take a look at that blog post for yourself. I've put it into the chat. Again, it's RebeccaCampbell.me, how to create a Samhain altar. And I'm sure you can just go to her main website, RebeccaCampbell.me, and put in the search term Samhain, Samhain. And you'll be able to find her writings on Samhain. Hmm. I just got an email about severe weather preparations. So I think it's just going to be, it might be a little bit more than rain tomorrow, which sucks. But all right, let's get into some personal stuff. Not too personal. So, as I was saying before, we do have a ritual planned tomorrow. It's not really a public ritual, it's more a personal ritual with just coven members, close friends, people who we have circled with before, um, especially with, the pandemic is not gone, folks. It's just not. So I would urge you all to be careful, to make sure that you're vaccinated, make sure you get your boosters if you need it. And if you're not feeling comfortable going to gatherings, don't go to gatherings. Make sure you're wearing your mask, all that stuff. Um, so we are taking all precautions, all of that. Um, so I feel like this Samhain, because it's going to be a smaller um, group of people, it's not going to be a huge public ritual. It's going to be the more powerful for it because we have had so much loss in the last 2 years. We've had so many beautiful souls lost. We've had so much division. We've had so much darkness. And with Samhain, all of that kind of comes up with its heartache and also its triumph as well. Um, so this is the reason why I started the episode with saying, if you're newer to practicing or you want to attend a Samhain ritual and it happens to be available in your area, know what you're getting into before you go. If the event organizer, the high priest or priestess, tells you, this is energetically heavy, this is emotionally depleting, are you sure? Um, Please take note of that. And if you're not sure, if you're on the fence about it, maybe don't. you know, because I will never forget the ritual that we did where the person that was told, that was warned, basically did all but run out screaming. Um, we could tell that she wanted to, like, she had the look in her eyes that she was about to bolt like a wild horse. um, Even after being warned and strongly cautioned, maybe this is not the right ritual for you to attend first. um, Even after all of that, still happens. So I will never forget it, and that's the reason why I'm saying it. And for those of you watching that was around for that particular ritual, like, feel free to private message me. I'm not going to talk about it more publicly than that. But y'all did a good job, by the way. um, because it's not the fact that Samhain is scary, it's just the fact that it's very deep and emotional and hard. And culturally, most of us don't know what to do with death and with mortality. It's a very hard and taboo subject. And I am speaking so calmly about it, not because that I've come to terms with it, because I certainly have not. I still have my existential crises at 3 a.m. when I'm thinking about, oh my God, someday I'm going to die and I don't know what happens. Like, I'm human. I don't want to. I do know it's a reality. I do know that, no one day is certain or given or guaranteed. However, culturally, we do have a very strong aversion to talking about these topics and to acknowledging our fear and to acknowledging sometimes our loved ones that have passed, that have gone before, because we're not comfortable with the concept of their mortality and our mortality. So, again, this is the reason why Samhain can be a difficult Sabbath and a difficult holiday. I'm sorry to go so deep with you guys, but again, I kind of knew it was going to happen because we're talking about Samhain. So some personal practices that we've done before, I touched upon very briefly at the start of the topic, is that my coven and my magical lineage does trans prophecy, which not all covens do, but we do. And the person that takes the chair is a trained seer. Like, we do prepare for this. We do a guided meditation, which I'm not going to go into here. Not because it's secretive and bad and weird or whatever, but because, our practices are our own. And you want to do it in a coven space, and most of the time a coven is for that space and that group mind and that specific magical training. So our Samhain ritual usually revolves around someone taking the chair and bringing through the goddess Hecate. That is typically the deity that we work with on Samhain. Samhain is usually her holiday, in much the same way that Imbolc is Bridget's holiday. And I can speak that with authority only because I am training to become a priestess of Bridget. But like, Samhain is to Hecate as Imbolc is to Bridget, or Bridget is to Imbolc as Samhain, as Hecate is to Samhain. It's a very close connection that my coven particularly has. Your mileage may vary. Your coven may do things very differently. Just because you do it differently doesn't mean that I'm wrong, and vice versa. So typically we'll have someone bring through Hecate, and Hecate will deliver us messages. We have been told ahead of time, or at least a couple of us have been getting messages ahead of time, that Hecate is very ready and willing and wants to talk to everyone, address everyone individually, talk to everyone. And when you have experienced trans prophecy, both in taking the chair and also seeing somebody else take the chair, deity doesn't care a fig that you can't get the president of the United States on the phone. For example, we had that happen once with a different ritual, different goddess, where it's just like basically the vessel had to explain, well, I'm sorry, I don't have a direct line to the president of the United States. So if you think that deity is not paying attention to current events or the events of the world, or they're far remote or separated from it, it's not true. So typically the format of the ritual is, we will set the space up. If you're on the ritual team, we will set the space up, and we will cast the circle through a guided meditation that we do to kind of set up the space, so that what we are seeing, what we are visualizing, the guests or the ritual participants that are coming in later will see and feel those same things and that same energy, and it becomes sacred space. Which we do in most Sabbats and most rituals, is we set the space ahead of time, cast a circle, call the quarters. And this particular ritual is, we call it the Hounds of Hecate, in which people dress up and embody the ritualistic role of being a Hound of Hecate, which is, and then we have one member as Cerberus guarding the gates between the living and the dead. And so these can be symbolic roles, but they also do become actual ritual and energetic roles, because it's almost like taking a thread of the divine or of that ritualistic role and acting in such a way as you are guided by spirit. So oftentimes when we've done this ritual in particular, the Hounds of Hecate will nuzzle people, or they'll guide people, or they'll herd people, or they'll just stand and provide comfort. And Cerberus, almost you almost feel a presence bigger than that person. And you sometimes will see, I don't know what I'm going to see tomorrow, but I think the last time we did this ritual is I saw a mist forming around the designated space where we had as the gates. So it becomes very real. And the same way can be said for the person that is the vessel for Hecate. Oftentimes with trans prophecy, you will see their visage change entirely, where someone could be blue-eyed, their eyes turn green, or you see something different, almost juxtaposed or transposed over that person's regular appearance. And I have seen this both ways. I've taken the chair myself, and I have also heard things said about me when taking the chair because it wasn't actually me. So any questions about that? I know we're getting into really esoteric terminology here, which we normally don't do on this, but that is the ritual that we do. Is, the Hounds of Hecate are helping facilitate the ritual. Cerberus is there guarding the gates and making sure the gates open when they need to and close when they need to, and that no spirit is coming through with intent to harm the ritual, and vice versa. So what Dina was saying before, maybe the Samhain is stronger as it is the dark moon time. Yeah, yeah, kind of. Mm-hmm. So the difference in the ritual that we are doing tomorrow is that we are accounting for a couple. Sorry, let me finish my thought, and then I'm going to display Katie's comment. Yeah, Katie, exactly. But that wasn't actually the ritual, but it was. I'll cover it in a second. So after we do like the main ritual, which is basically connection with Hecate, with speaking to her and talking to her, and having that be the focal point, really is, Hecate's ability to walk between the worlds, Hecate's ability to bring forth the spirits and guide them and protect them. She is the torchbearer. She often is a guide between the living and the dead. She walks in between. So that's part of the reason why I immediately think Samhain and I think Hecate. But let me get to. Oh wait, no. Let me finish my thought. Then I'll get to Katie. So we have that portion of it, and then after that portion, we're turning it over to another member of our group, or a member of our group, who will be talking a little bit about Dia de los Muertos and its significance and how it is similar but not the same as Samhain, and also speaking of it from her cultural heritage as well, and different rituals and different foods and drinks and honor that we have, and that is separate to Samhain. So that's a little bit different than what we've done before, but I welcome it. I think that's great. So different things that we've done over time. Like we're going to play Tori Amos's Carrie. which is a very beautiful song, and it's something that we've either played over a speaker or we've had someone sing it. But it has become part of our Samhain celebration because we've like heard it so many times that it's now a Samhain song for us. And there's not a lot of like ritualistic songs that comes along with paganism and with witchcraft. So sometimes we have to pull from pop culture whenever we need to. We frequently pull from Tori's collection because she's got that sense of something a little bit different, a little bit witchy. Um, we also frequently um, sing a song from Midwinter Graces um, during Yule, which is a winter's carol. Um, and that Yule, a winter's carol. That's just what happens. Lorena McKenna sometimes is added during Samhain as well for her song All Souls Night. So, we pick and choose what works for us, but once we find something that works for us, we usually stick with it. So Katie says that very much doesn't sound like the first ritual to see if you have never seen or heard of it before. Yes, exactly. So that particular person, we did not do the Hounds of Hecate ritual at that time, but we did bring through Hecate through trans prophecy. And so sometimes just the concept of trans prophecy, yeah, it can be very heavy, especially during Samhain. And I don't remember much from that particular ritual, only because I think I did take the chair for that ritual. And so from my perspective, um, it's very strange, and I'm not going to be able to describe it correctly, but it was really not me speaking to people. It was Hecate. So it was almost like I was taking a back seat, and the words that were coming out of my mouth, and even the voice and the timbre was not my own. So and then when I was brought back out, um, I think her eyes were as big as saucers. So yeah, please believe us when we say that Samhain is probably not a great Sabbat to be your first ritual to go to. Ease it on in there. And if we're saying it's intense, then please believe us when we say it's intense. The Hecate has already requested a certain type of wine that I seem to have to bring to her every single Samhain. It is Apothic Red, or I think it's like Apothic Red or Apothic Red Velvet. I don't know. There's one of them that she really, really liked, and my friend who is also the high priestess was like she asked for that wine specifically. I don't know what wine it is, but she asked for that wine, and I'm just like, I know exactly what you're talking about. I know what she's talking about. I'll get it. I'll go. Quoting Cameron from Ferris Bueller's, I'll go. I'll get it. So, all right. Any questions? Because this was a really kind of heavy workshop. Covered a lot of ground, gave you a lot of information, maybe scared you a little bit. But I will open up the floor. Sorry, I've got to plug in my computer. I will open up the floor to questions. If I haven't covered everything or anything, if you got a specific question. Ooh, so Dina says, very Scorpio season. Yes, absolutely, guys. Hold that thoughts. So speaking of Passion Planner, and speaking of Scorpio season, I got to show you guys this. You'll appreciate it. And I think they're still available. So I don't know if I think I showed you guys the sticker books that I got, or that I was going to get during the self-care episode. But I got these from Passion Planner with my 2022 That's not a real year. That's weird. That's not a real thing. With my 2022 Passion Planner, so they just came out with these two. So this one is the Out of This World Space Sticker Book, which has like stickers like Taste the Universe. Okay. But Scorpio season. It's in the stars zodiac signs sticker book. You guys are going to freak out because they have at least 2 full pages of stickers for each sign. You're going to freak out. Yeah, I think I already started pulling from something that's like Scorpio like because I saw like this snake. It was very cool looking. The Aries ones are cute too, but I'm a little bit jealous of Scorpios because I saw Scorpios and then I saw Aries and I'm just like, damn it. Like if an Aries tells you, no, I love being Aries, I don't want to be a Scorpio, they're lying, okay? They're lying. Every Aries wants to be a Scorpio. This is the first page of the Scorpio. Oh yeah, I pulled from this one. This one was a candle that had the Scorpio symbol on it. Looked very cool. I put that in my passion planner for this year already for this week. Okay. So that's the first one. This is the second one. Look at that. It's all dark and mysterious and pink and red and burgundy. And I'm very jealous. Look at the Scorpio in the little beaker. Like, shut your face. It's so cute. So Dina says, that is a huge sticker book. Yes, it is. It's, do I have I don't have the dimensions on this, but it's bigger than my face. My face is pretty big. So, but yeah, if you guys want to get a sticker book like this, actually the Out of This World sticker book, it kind of has like the little alien, like university vibes, but it has some astrological stuff in there too, which I kind of like. But now I can't find it right. Yeah. Cute. Very, very cute. Anyway, passionplanner.com. Actually, I'll put that into the chat while I'm waiting for more questions. And if we don't have any questions, I'm going to move into the weekend forecast. So just let me know. And I'm afraid to pull from like any Oracle deck because I'm just terrified of it coming for me right now during Scorpio season, during Samhain season. Let me see. Yeah, I'm just going to put the zodiac one into the chat. Oh, that's wonderful. So Dina says, I bought the self-care sticker book. Isn't it cute? I think it's the same size. I think they're all the same size. So I love them. I love all of them. I love stickers. All right, I'm waiting for that link to propagate, and I have a feeling that it didn't. Why didn't you propagate? Now I'm going to get annoyed. No. Did it not come up, guys? It's being grumpy with me. I don't think I can let it into the chat. Oh wells. So Dina is asking me, have you seen the Witches of Legend Oracle? No, no, but I'm gonna have to look it up. It's showing me Witch's Wisdom and Witch's Kitchen. Oh, there we go. Annabelle Lewis? Is it a Kickstarter? Ooh, of course. And Bridget is right there. Bridget is right there. Why do you do this to me? Yeah, exactly. I agree with Katie. Are you leading Hilary astray? Of course. All of you lead me astray all the time. But I am always happy to check out different decks and different oracles if it makes you guys happy. In fact, yep, yes, it is a Kickstarter. Yes, I found it, and now I have the link, and now I have to get it. So thanks, Dina. Thank you, Witches of Legend Oracle. Take my money. It has a sea witch. Ooh, okay. I'm in. I was in as soon as I saw Bridget on there. So, anyway, speaking of that, I have several things that I need to check out. I don't know where my copy of the other one is. Shoot. Oh, it's underneath. Okay. There are two things that I need to look into and review. So, I've already made more work for myself. So, before we move into the weekend forecast, I am going to show you those two things. And I think that I had already showed, but if I'm repeating myself, then that's just fine. So I got review copies of Tarot for Kids, written by Teresa Reed. Yes, that same Teresa Reed. Illustrated by Kaylee Whitman. So, and it's still in the vacuum sealed pack. So I haven't opened it up yet. So, Witches for Kids. And the other thing that I got a review copy for is The Relative Tarot by Carrie Paris. So, this one or both of these have to be my deck of the month. I have a feeling it's going to have to be The Relative Tarot because it's not out yet, and I know Tarot for Kids is. So I think The Relative Tarot comes out on November 4th, so next week. So I feel like it might be more effective if I dive into this at its launch time rather than picking up Tarot for Kids, which is already out there in the world getting wonderful reviews. I'm just behind on everything right now. Behind on my sleep, behind on my work, behind on my writing, behind on everything. So look forward to those. Did we just have a power surge?
It's very windy out, so.
Did the lights just flicker?
Twice.
Oh, good. I don't know if you heard Mr. Tarot by Hilary, but apparently the lights have been flickering, not once, but twice. So that might be my sign that, Hilary, you need to wrap it up for tonight before all the power goes out, which would not be good. Also, spooky season, y'all, and it's windy, and it's Samhain season, and it's Scorpio season. And you have a witch doing a weekly, live stream every week, and weird shit is bound to happen. Yes, exactly. Katie says Halloween is coming early. Yep, fantastic. Also, in that same vein, and I don't want to belabor the point, otherwise the power will go out. Something will go wrong. We did have a new episode of the Card Slingers Coast to Coast podcast last Friday, which I don't think I mentioned in last week's episode because we were too busy reading from the Blue Nosed Witch. But that episode is out right now. Episode 43, Event Season Cometh. That is out wherever you get your podcasts. it was recorded in August, actually on Jamie's birthday. And it made me laugh out loud when I listened to it because I had no idea that the birthday shenanigans were going to be a part of the episode. So I say something very, very blue in the episode, which actually did not happen. That particular birthday gift was not what I said it was. I just said it for comedic effect. So check out that episode wherever you get your podcasts. It's basically about hiring readers for parties, event horror stories, to living your best event plans. Be aware and understand your needs as you learn the ropes of reading at parties. And then we go deep into some event self-care tips. So learn from us if you want to be a professional tarot reader and doing readings at parties and festivals. And bless you, honey. And you're going to have another one, aren't you?
What?
That sounded like it was going to go for a twofer.
I
No?
don't know if it's gonna or not.
Okay. So yeah, check out the newest episode of the Card Slingers Coast to Coast podcast that came out last Friday. Again, we are on a every second and fourth Friday publishing schedule for our Card Slingers Coast to Coast podcast. And I have a podcast of my own too, but I have been very lax in it. So there's only a couple of episodes available. Also, wherever you get your podcasts, I think it's just called the Tarot by Hilary podcast. So look for that wherever you get your podcasts. I think it's originally broadcast through Anchor podcasts, anchor.fm, if I'm remembering correctly. Anyway, all right. Any other questions about Samhain, Samhain, before we wrap up with the weekend forecast? And I want a kind and gentle deck. I don't want to be smacked down right now. Oh, that is not a kind and gentle deck. That's a Scorpio Sea Tarot. What am I doing holding this? Nope. 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 Melissa and Maggie Seabotter do not come for me. I need a deck. I need a deck. I need a deck. Actually, the Accurate AF Tarot we haven't used in a little while. Let me grab that. Why would I pick a tarot deck when I want it to be kind and gentle? That's not how it works, folks. All right. Let me grab the Accurate AF. All right, fine, whatever. Let's get smacked around by the tarot, folks. All right. Unless there are no more questions about Samhain. Actually, let me use my widget. Can you tell that I love my countdown widget? Weekend forecast in Can you guys still hear me? Let me know if you can hear me if I do that full screen. I'm interested. I'm always playing around with these different tools. Ooh, cool. So you guys can hear me, and the comment assistant posted that. Thank you for a very informative lesson. You're very welcome, Katie. That's cool. That's cool. Okay, awesome. I don't ever want to be that guy. You know, the was it Sprint? It was Sprint, right? Can you hear me now? Good. It's like, stop. But I do have to, check that the technology is in fact working when I'm doing this. I'm very happy that I upgraded to the Pro plan. I'm not gonna lie. It was expensive, but if I'm doing these every week, why not? You got to invest in your business. You got to invest in yourselves, All right, I have so many links open at the same time right now, but I know that I have the guidebook. Okay, let's see. I have so many guidebooks. I've got digital guidebooks, my own guidebook. I swear I had the Accurate AF guidebook. Not that I need it, I just like to see what they write in it. I think I might have put it in my drive. Let's see. If I don't, then that's fine. Give me a second, folks. Ha 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 ha! I found it. Accurate AF, which only has a digital guidebook. It doesn't have a printed guidebook. So let the tarot come for us, right? So let's get into the weekend forecast, everybody, for the spooky season, for Samhain, for Halloween, for Scorpio season. Let's go. Let's go. All right. So I am pulling from the Accurate AF Tarot by, I think it's Prism and Floor, if I'm remembering correctly. And this was I think this was the original edition. I don't think it's the revised or second edition that they did. So it looks a little bit different. I think the backs are different. And also, I don't think the newer editions have the keywords on the outside for the upright and the reversed. And so I'm going to give you a little tip if you're working with the original version of the Accurate AF Tarot. So this is a circular deck, and it's something that I came up with. I don't necessarily know if I heard it from somebody else or it's just something I found from working with this deck. Because it is a round or circular deck, which is kind of unusual. There's only a couple of tarot decks that are circular. I can only think of I think I'm thinking of this one, and the Mother Piece Tarot is the other one that I remember. I'm sure there are more. I think Emily Carding did a circular one that was also transparent as well, so you can kind of stack one on top of the other to get different messages. But this particular deck, or at least this version of the deck, has keywords on the circumference of the outside of the cards. And when I've been using it, I haven't actually, it's hard to do upright and reversed with a circular card, with a circular tarot deck. So what I have been doing is when I have been shuffling and pulling a card, especially doing card of the day practice, I have shuffled and then I have pulled the card, and whatever keyword is at the top of the card for whenever I place it down, that's the keyword that I focus on in order to get the interpretation of what that particular card is trying to tell me for that day or for that client or in the space of that reading. So I find it's kind of enjoyable. All right, so shut up, Hilary, enough. Let's continue to shuffle this up and find out what do we most need to know for this weekend. What is the energy of this weekend? All right, come for us, tarot. We're ready. We're ready. We are prepared. We just did an entire episode on Samhain. We're ready. Okay. Wow. All right. Fine. Prove me wrong. So I shuffled, and I pulled. Remember what I just said when I was describing that I look at the top for the keyword, right? Because it's a circular deck. I'm not even shitting you. I'm not even lying to you here. It came out exactly as this, with the name of the card right on top, completely upright. So I think that's Awesome. Oh, I'm very sorry, Katie. We are never ready. LOL. Yeah, well, no, I think we are. I think we are. All right, fine. Come for me and prove me wrong, Tarot. All right, so the world is coming up for us. And the upright meaning keywords are fulfillment, certainty, freedom, reward, unity, and clarity, which is lovely. So I think all of those upright keywords are applicable considering we have it really being totally upright for it being a circular card. That's ridiculous. Like, fine, tarot, be like that. It's a beautiful card too. I like it a lot. So if you have a version of the Accurate AF Tarot and you don't have your world card looking exactly like mine, it's because you have a different edition. I think this one is the original edition, or maybe the second edition. You might have the revised edition because I don't think they have keywords on the circumference anymore. So that was gross. My husband just burped while walking by, very confidently, very proudly. Okay. Unity, right? What? Clarity, unity? All right. Where did I just put it? Okay. So let me read from the companion book. Let me see if I can find it. Scrolling through. So the world card is the last card in the what'd you forget? Oh, you forgot your mask. Don't forget that. So the world card is the last card of the major arcana. The element is earth. The star signs applicable to the world card are fixed signs, which are Leo, Taurus, Aquarius, and Scorpio. Scorpio season, y'all. Can't make this shit up. The planet is Saturn. The crystals are lapis lazuli and jet. Prediction speed is midterm, and yes or no, it's a yes. So upright meanings. And I'm going to go straight from the guidebook because I am just pleased as punch that I was able to find it. And Katie says, so we are going to get lots of spooky messages this Halloween. I guess so. All right. Upright meaning. The World Tarot card is a symbol that represents all that we can accomplish on our path through life. It tells of perfection, beauty, success, abundance, and public recognition, as well as telling of accomplishments and of reaching the height of your potential and goals. It is indicative of growing maturity, a sense of inner balance, and deeper understanding. It suggests that you may be approaching a more final sense of identity and the security in the self that comes with age. Oh, I hear that. I like that. It also represents the falling away of boundaries, sometimes in the effusive sense of the spiritual, but sometimes in a purely physical sense, indicating travels or journeys in the future. Ooh, I'm liking this card, guys. All right, it's not done yet. Let me just take a little bit of a drink. All the efforts that you have been putting in place are starting to pay off. It reflects that you have completed a major milestone in your life, and you have built the resilience to withstand challenges. The world may indicate completion of a long-term project, study, or any other major event in your life. It may also mean the birth of a child, marriage, graduation, or any other thing that you have accomplished. The world card shows that you have a desire to give back to the community in various ways. You have a commitment to make the world a better place because you understand that everything is connected. The world relates to the number 33. Oh my goodness. Are you serious? 33s. The number 3 has been chasing me around lately. Like 333, ridiculous. Okay. Which is a master number of healing energies. The master number 33 brings in enormous amounts of unconditional love and the higher energies of creativity. The master healer must serve humanity as it is the reason for incarnation. Key points when drawn upright, which we also kind of touched upon in the keywords on the outside here. Freedom, leadership, completion, travel, growth, success, splendor, simplicity, clarity, rejoicing, and fulfillment. Holy shit. All right. I said come for us. I said come for us. It came for us. So this weekend, man, guys, this is a beautiful card. Actually, it was, and I'm dropping it everywhere. So this is a really gorgeous card, and it has like the world in the palm of your hand, but it's like, I just have this sense of you are not fulfilled unless you have a holistic purpose. You have a global purpose. It's not just local, it's global. It's like this very Aquarian kind of energy, which is also an astrological correspondence to the world card, where Aquarians, I was actually saying this at the bar a couple of nights ago. My mind is blown here. I was talking astrology to my sister-in-law's boyfriend and a friend of his, and I was explaining about Aries and my Aries placements, and they were just like, well, we're both Aquariuses. And I'm just like, oh, okay, so it's this, this, this. And it's just like, so you guys are not happy unless you're fulfilling a grand destiny, and you're like very concerned about global matters and humanitarian work. And, like, and they're just like, because no one signs up to go to a bar and watch a sports game and drink beers and then have the weirdo astrology kind of person. By the way, I'm not an astrologer. I just know enough astrology to be dangerous. You all know that by now if you've been watching these episodes for a number of weeks or since the beginning. Yeah, but no one signs up to go and watch a football game and be told their life by a weirdo. So the eyes were opening wider and wider and wider as I was telling them about themselves. But yeah, the world has that Aquarian energy where it's just like this is go big or go home. And I think that was also how we started the episode when I was talking about Samhain, where it's just like this is make it or break it. That's the energy of the weekend. That's the energy of Samhain. Like, do you have it? Do you have what it takes? And can you bring that to the world so that we can get through this upcoming season, this season of darkness, with light, with growth, with joy, with abundance? Because if you don't know by now, you're gonna know. You're gonna find that clarity. And it might not be clarity that you particularly like, but you're gonna know. You're gonna know either way. Sorry for coming after you. Tarot came after me, so I'm going to come after you. Whoo! Okay, any comments, questions, concerns? I'm waiting for it. Where's my smoky quartz? I'm going to hold my smoky quartz and cry a little bit. Get the sage out. Get the spray out. Where the hell did I just put my spray? Oh, it's there. Hold on. There it is. Aura cleanser. I'm okay. You're welcome, Dina. You're welcome. I mean, yeah, regular viewers of this series, y'all know by now, go deep or go home. All right. That's quite enough out of you, Tarot. And let's remember that. Accurate AF Tarot is right. Jeez. You're very welcome, Katie. Thank you. And we are duly warned. Yeah, I think all of us are duly warned. Don't mess around with Samhain season, y'all. So yeah, if you like Accurate AF Tarot or you like what you just saw there, I think it's accurateaftarot.com was on the packaging, but I want to make sure that actually works. Yes, Prism and Floor Design Studio. Because I really do have a feeling that it's not the same. It's not the same. Ooh, that's a pretty set. Yeah, the Accurate AF Tarot deck looks very different to what I just showed you guys. But by the way, it's on sale right now for $44.99. So maybe you want to check that out. I'll go ahead and drop that into the link or drop that into the chat. Even though it doesn't seem like my comments are working, it's not going into the chat anymore. I'm going to have to ask about that, y'all. All right. Anyway, it's accurateaftarot.com if it doesn't show up in the chat. And I'm just going to hold that up to the camera there. You have been warned. And that was another epic episode. And I wasn't so concerned about time because I don't know what's going on with Instagram videos. I tried to post last week's spooky story time episode like a couple of days in a row, and it just was not working. And they didn't have a separate like upload thing for IGTV because it's not IGTV anymore. And then finally, like right before we started this episode, I tried it again and uploaded like literally within 2 minutes before the episode. And I'm like, shit, now I have to get everything done all at once. So yeah, I don't know if there's any particular restrictions on length of posts now or lengths of videos now. So I'll test it out and get back to you if I'm able to post this, because I think we're at the almost 2 hour mark. So anyway, that's a good enough sign. And also the flickering lights is a sign for me to wrap up this episode. I want to thank you all once again for tuning in, whether you're tuning in live or when you're watching it later on for one of the replays from the archives, whenever you need this information and whenever you are seeing this, whether it's before Halloween or whether it's March 9th, 2023, and this episode or that card of the day or weekend forecast is resonant for you, that is exactly how it should be. Katie says blue-nosed witch, perfect story for Halloween, so it was timing for it. Yeah, exactly. I think so too. And actually I am going to bring that copy to the ritual tomorrow in case I don't know, in case people want to do spooky story time again during the fellowship period after the dumb supper. We'll see, but I will have it on hand. All right. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope this episode served you about Samhain and what it means. I hope your beloved dead are communicating with you and you're communicating with them. Like I said, it's not just for Samhain season. They are talking to you all the time. Just get out of your own way and listen for them. I swear you will find how quickly you will hear their sign signals, songs as well. So Katie says, thank you. Have a wonderful Samhain. You as well, Katie. And I also do want to remind everybody that we do this every Friday night at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to have the little banner or crawler, as they say in the biz. So Fridays, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we usually do an episode. Ooh, okay. So I guess I can't project things and also do the crawler at the same time. Learning something new every single day. So, ooh, okay. There's a lot of things going wrong right now. So it looks like I can't display the schedule from the past month. But what we usually do is we do an episode to schedule the rest of the episodes for the month. So I will be talking to you about that next Friday. Again, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I will see you then. Let's see if we can show this. Oh no. Oh no, I can't wrap up. I can't wrap up in the way I want to, guys. That is terrible. Ugh. All right, fine. I guess I have to make do or refresh, or I don't know. I'm going to try refreshing and see if it works. If it ends the broadcast, so much the better. If it doesn't, let's see if we can end this right. Let's see. All right, I guess it's still working. All right, let's see if I can show. There we go. See, sometimes you just got to refresh things. What do you think, guys? Okay. So, next Friday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to be doing something like this, where I'm going to be telling you the different Fridays, and we're going to go over the archive of topics that you want me to talk about, topics that you want me to teach, and we will schedule November's episodes because we are already in November, folks. This year is rapidly winding down. Okay. If you don't already know it, if you're just tuning in at the end of the broadcast, again, I am Hilary, professional tarot reader, demystifying the mystical and putting you in touch with most beautiful gifts, your own intuition, because yes, my friend, do not argue with me. You have intuition. If you would like to book a reading with me, you can do so. tarotbyhilary.com, right there below me, white row I'm pointing to. And I would love to be able to serve you with the tarot. So go there now if you want to book a reading with me. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Friday. Bye. Woohoo!